spacesuit. It is essential for humans to survive the harsh environments of space. Without it, a human can die in less than a minute. Many experts believe the Earth has been visited by aliens for thousands of years. But if we can't survive space travel without a protective suit, how can they? Join us as we uncover alien spacesuit sightings. A global effort has begun. Secret files hidden from the public for decades, detailing every UFO account, are now available to the public. We are about to uncover the truth behind these classified documents. Find out what the government doesn't want you to know. Unsealed. Alien Files. Exposing the biggest secret on planet Earth. Unsealed, Algeria, 1933. A French soldier, walking through a mountainous region of the Sahara, stumbles upon one of the 20th century's most prized archaeological finds. Sandstone cave walls, covered with over 15,000 engravings and paintings, dating back 10,000 years. In the 1950s, prehistoric art specialist Henri Lucht claims many of the 800 scenes depict something very unusual.
There's a cave in Algeria called Tassili Niger, where there are these cave paintings that really depict what appear to be something you would describe as a spaceman. You've got discernible human beings on one side, so then you have to ask yourself, what is this other being that's in the picture being depicted? What are these other beings? Could they be an alien civilization?
Ancient art depicting oversized bodies wearing what look like helmets is a common image across many cultures. We may never know what these ancient people's true intention was, but in the modern world, encounters with otherworldly beings dressed in what can only be described as spacesuits is common. Unsealed case file, the Finland incident, February 5th, 1971, Kinula, Finland. Two men, P. Aliranta and E.J. Sneck, are working in a forest when Aliranta witnesses a 15-foot-wide UFO descend into a clearing.
And as it appeared to have landed on Earth, some type of a being then glided out of the center of the UFO, appearing to have been wearing some kind of a spacesuit, according to the eyewitnesses.
According to Aliranta, the little green man approaches him until there is only 10 yards between them. But suddenly, the being turns and floats back toward the saucer. Aliranta tries to catch it.
As this eyewitness tried to touch the being, as he did so, he realized that this being, this entity, was very hot. He described it as like a hot iron. And he said that he had burns on his hands that lasted for a couple weeks after the encounter.
The Finland incident exposes an alarming trait that has been witnessed time and time again by many who encounter human-like extraterrestrials. They seem to be wearing a protective outer layer, much like a spacesuit. But why?
So why would an alien need a spacesuit to begin with? Well, obviously they've evolved on another planet with a different atmosphere, different germs, if there are germs on another world. So that suit would have to protect them from everything that's on our planet, and it'd have to do it very efficiently.
On Earth, mountain climbers refer to any point above 26,000 feet as the death zone, where the human body cannot acclimatize, and the lack of oxygen becomes life-threatening. And at 62,000 feet, air pressure is so low that human blood can boil, causing death within minutes. Could beings from other planets also need an artificial atmosphere to help them travel beyond their normal habitat? Or can some beings survive almost anywhere? Recently, amateur biologist Mike Shaw made a claim that astounded the world by postulating that a tiny, 8-legged aquatic animal called a tardigrade may have come from another planet.
So the tardigrade is one of the smallest animals we have on our planet. It can survive extremes of cold, it can be frozen, it can survive the Marianas Trench, boiling water, it can survive UV radiation, so it survives on our planet and it can survive off our planet.
If tardigrades are able to survive space, perhaps other types of creatures can. Biologists studying tardigrades wonder if the animal's dynamic exoskeleton protects it from the perils of space. But how did the tardigrade evolve its protective outer covering? And how can humans use technology to emulate it?
Once the space race was on, NASA had to figure out how to protect the human body from the perils of space. There are extreme dangers there that you don't think about when we go outside on a California beach. Out in space, you have to protect your eyes, you have to protect your body, you have to protect your skin. You have to have some type of a shield. NASA knew the risks that they were going to subject their human astronauts to once they put them into space, but it was the spacesuit that they designed that was going to do their best to protect them.
In 2010, NASA announced plans to develop a personal flying suit and vehicle called a Puffin. But to achieve the advanced technological level of a spacesuit, similar to those reported in many alien sightings, we have a long way to go. Sightings have been reported where a being appears to be wearing a spacesuit. But what about the ones who don't? Coming up, many experts believe aliens are wearing spacesuits. But some close encounters point to a very different conclusion. This is Unsealed, Alien Files. Ufologists believe many extraterrestrial visitors may be wearing a form of spacesuit as protection from the Earth's atmosphere. Unsealed case file, the Hopkinsville incident. August 21st, 1955, Kentucky, USA. Billy Ray Taylor is visiting the Sutton family's farmhouse in rural Kentucky when he witnesses strange lights in the sky and what looks to be a flying saucer lands in the nearby forest.
The Hopkinsville UFO sightings from Kentucky are a fascinating and actually rather disturbing series of encounters. This is sometimes referred to as a siege.
Emerging from the edge of the trees is a strange-looking humanoid creature, short in stature, with large, pointy ears.
They looked almost like hobgoblins, or almost little devil creatures. Large, pointed ears, pointy faces, like something out of our ancient folklore and legends.
When another creature appears around the corner of the house, Lucky turns and fires.
But the shots had no effect. And this poses the interesting question, were these extraterrestrials wearing spacesuits? And was one of the functions of these spacesuits to actually give them protection against weapons?
11 family members, including children, are terrorized half the night by the creature. Later, the Hopkinsville incident is the subject of a Project Blue Book investigation. But at the time, the sighting is considered so outrageous, they write it off as a hoax. The Sutton family eventually moves, and the incident will haunt them for the rest of their lives. Could the Hopkinsville aliens have been wearing a spacesuit that covered the shape of their actual bodies? Some encounters describe aliens wearing a more organic type of spacesuit that is virtually indistinguishable from the alien's body. Unsealed case file, September 15th, 1977. Paciencia, Brazil. Antonio Larrubia investigates a huge UFO that landed in a field near his home. And the beings that he encounters are unlike any that have been described before.
It's almost ground zero for the idea which runs through a lot of UFO-related narrative that the whole purpose behind extraterrestrial visitation is study of human beings. This was a case where it was alleged that the central witness was effectively taken in to a spaceship, subjected to some sort of medical examination. So it's almost like some first medical and then psychological test. Exactly what we'd probably do if we encountered and wanted to study aliens.
Larrubia survives the incident.
They behaved like robots, even down to the fact that at one point they started spinning around. They had strange antennae, which, again, one can speculate were being used to transmit data back to the intelligences behind all this.
Antonio claims he is subjected to a horrific physical examination, but the strange robots are actually sentient beings. Were they wearing a highly advanced spacesuit? Or something even more astounding. Unsealed case file, July 4th, 1947, Roswell, New Mexico. Multiple eyewitnesses report a UFO crashing in the desert outside Roswell, New Mexico. According to some sources inside the military, parts of the wreckage along with alien bodies are secretly transported to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Ohio. But en route, the shipment makes a stop at Fort Riley, Kansas, and Lieutenant Colonel Philip Corso gets the chance of a lifetime.
He knew the guard that was taking care of that warehouse and found his way into the warehouse.
What he sees forever alters his view of the world.
He went to a corner of the warehouse where there were several boxes stacked up, crates. And this is what he describes. The creatures were enclosed within a one-piece protective covering, like a jumpsuit or outer skin. The creature's spacesuit or outer skin appeared to be stretched around it as if it was literally spun around the creature, providing a perfect skin-tight protective fit.
Corso claims the creature has only a slit for a mouth, more like a crease than something functional. What Corso describes is commonly known today as an alien gray.
His job, his mission at that time, was then to find a way to integrate the technology in that box into the mainstream of our technology.
And he discovers something else, a routing manifest from Wright Field to the morgue at Walter Reed Army Hospital. Coming up, we uncover the secret findings of the world's first alien autopsy and reveal that some aliens may be wearing much more than a spacesuit. This is Unsealed, Alien Files. Experts have long suspected that some aliens are visiting Earth wearing protective spacesuits. But recent eyewitness testimony reveals something more incredible. Unsealed case file. Washington, D.C., the Walter Reed Army Medical Center. Pathologists begin an autopsy on an alien body allegedly retrieved from the Roswell crash of July 4th, 1947. The procedure reveals a series of mind-bending revelations about alien physiology and creates more questions than answers about how they may employ spacesuit technology. The pathologists believe the extraterrestrial biological entity, or EBE, was biologically engineered for long-term spaceflight. Many believe this proves that aliens have been scientifically enhanced to travel across time and space.
The crashed spaceship and all the material from it, including the entities, were studied, and scientists tried to effectively say, well, can we acquire this technology for ourselves?
The question is, are they biological aliens or just sophisticated spacesuits?
We are not necessarily dealing with one species of extraterrestrials at one stage in their technological evolution. We may be visited by a number of different intelligences, and it stands to reason that they would have different designs for their own spacesuits.
Scientists speculate that EBE's entire physiological system may have been designed.
And as you watch the medical examiners cut into these bodies, you realize they are very human-like. They are very similar to how humans are in today's society, with 2 arms, 2 legs, a foot, two hands. The medical examiners looked into that, and you can see a lot of correlation between the human race and what potentially had evolved on an alien planet.
Many of the autopsy findings leave scientists baffled. The technology is far beyond what we have here on Earth. Who or what is piloting these spacecraft? And how do they do it?
And what do we need to do? We need to understand it. It's a basic fundamental to our human mind. We need to understand the unknown.
Who is making these technologically advanced living spacesuits? Or is it possible that some aliens have evolved to travel a distance far greater than previously imagined? January 1964, Paris, France. Retired Army Command Sergeant Major Robert O. Dean is given NATO's highest top-secret clearance while stationed at the Supreme Headquarters Operations Center.
So Army Command Sergeant Major Robert Dean in 1964 is given this document And this document is written by just about every NATO representative that we have. And in it is disclosed a crash where 12 bodies were recovered.
One particular case catches his attention. The case contains pictures detailing a 30-meter disc that crashed in Timmendorfer, Germany, near the Baltic Sea in 1961. 12 small alien bodies are recovered, but the description of the autopsy is what really gets Dean's attention.
In this case, it was reported that 12 near-identical entities were involved and were killed as a result of this crash. And when this craft was recovered, these entities were found with very, very small differences. It was almost as if this was a cookie-cutter design. And again, this is the first time, really, that the idea of clones enters the fray.
Are some aliens mere shells or clones with an artificial consciousness? Could this be why many eyewitnesses report robotic and biological behaviors during close encounters? Coming up, the artificial nature of alien biology has some experts questioning new technology and the future of the human body. Evidence suggests that aliens may have a second skin or a spacesuit integrated with their entire bodies. But is this a product of evolution or scientific design?
You know, we're talking about, millimeters of skin, not a bulky, 4-inch suit. Then obviously the material they're using is highly advanced. The material itself may be nanotechnology type material that can adapt or change its structure molecularly to insulate the being from the environment.
Similar to countless reports of alien spacesuits, a biosuit form-fits to the body. It uses coils made from nickel-titanium shape-memory alloys. These highly experimental metals can shrink when heated and expand when cooled, creating an active compression garment that applies pressure directly onto the skin instead of pressurizing gas in a suit. Scientists consider the biosuit a giant leap forward in mobility for astronauts.
People have talked about the development of essentially a second skin, and there is indeed a Massachusetts Institute of Technology project, the so-called second skin spacesuit, to design something so lightweight but yet so strong that effectively the astronaut wouldn't even be aware that they were in a spacesuit at all.
Is the spacesuit evolving to fit us? Or like aliens, will we evolve to fit the spacesuit? This is Unsealed. Alien Files, exposing the biggest secret on planet Earth.